don't plant your cucumbers in the ground like this. Today I'm going to show you why you shouldn't plant your cucumbers like that and how I start and set up my cucumbers so that they produce earlier and give me bigger yields. The first thing that I want to talk about is why you shouldn't direct sow your cucumbers into the ground. Cucumbers that are directly sown can take 2 or 3 weeks depending on when you sow it because the soil is still cool in the spring. And when they finally sprout, you won't get the best germination and they'll be behind than if you had started them the method that I'm going to share with you. Plus, I'll also share with you my secret to making them sprout really fast and how to maintain that pace so that they keep growing and you could get an early harvest on the season. Now, when starting cucumbers indoors, you don't want to be starting them too early because they don't like to be sitting in the soil for so long. They would prefer to be started a few weeks before your last frosting. Cucumbers are less cold hardy than other summer crops like your tomatoes, and so they won't grow. They will be kind of stunted until the heat comes. From my experience, starting the cucumbers late have them grow much faster because they love the heat. Now, the way I start my cucumbers is with a seedling cell tray. But if you only have to start a few plants, you could also use these cups. And then, just go ahead and take your seeds out and plant 1 per cell. I'm not going to start this entire tray worth of cucumbers, but what you'll want to do next is take a kitchen sifter, this is what I use at least, and sprinkle it to cover back the seeds. Make sure to water them. Then you'll want to move on to the next step, which is very important. You'll want to place your cucumber tray onto a heat mat or a warm area of your house. When you place them on the heat, it will cause them to germinate very fast. The trick helps cut down on the weeks it would take to germinate. And after 3 to 4 days, this is what your cucumbers will look like when they sprout. And what you want to do next to maintain their fast growth is to put them into a greenhouse. Now, if you don't have a greenhouse, you can also use a plastic tote to cover them, or you could create your own mini greenhouse with a cardboard box that you cut the sides out from and then tape some clear plastic onto it to let the light in. You want to make sure to bring in the plants every evening while it's still spring because they don't like cold nights and it will affect their growth. In case you're wondering, the varieties that I have here is the Space Masters, and then I also have the China Jade cucumber, which is new to me but will give me bigger yields with less work. After 3 weeks, your plants will be very big, or 5 if you start them a little late, and you can transplant them outdoors. But here's how I do it if you want to get big yields. To get big yields, you'll have to understand what a cucumber wants. So what I do is add a few cartloads of manure to the bed in the spring. Then, before planting, what I like to do is I'll add about a tablespoon of bone meal in each planting hole. Bone meal is full of phosphorus, which encourages them to produce more flowers and fruits. But the second part to this, if you want to get big yields, is to water your cucumbers every day, 3 or 4 times a day.
Nah, not really. I don't actually do that.
But what I do to retain the water in the soil and keep the soil moist all day long is I'll put down a layer of mulch over the bed. If you like seeing Tweaker in these videos, then make sure you guys peck those emoji buttons for Tweaker. That's how to plant cucumbers the right way. I hope you learned a lot. If you did, we created more of this exact format to get big yields right over here. Goodbye!